Hi, my name is Kevin. I'm a senior data consultant at Linchpin Analytics, and in this video we're going to look at GA4 attribution models. So you may have read or seen that GA4 uses a new default attribution model which is known as data-driven. So I'm using the GA4 demo shot by Google. So data-driven attribution model replaces the Google Analytics attribution model that was known as last click, and data-driven attributes conversion credit or revenue across multiple touch points in a user's journey to conversion, and gives weighting to touch points according to how GA4 understands the contribution of that touch point, and changes how it weights contribution in relation to how much data is available in the GA4 property. So it's a learning, adapting attribution model that gives credit to all of the touch points involved in a conversion for that user. So very different to universal analytics that used last click. So it's set within the admin settings here underneath attribution settings, and you can see reporting attribution model, the default is data-driven. So you may see this and think, well, all of my reports now use this attribution model. Well, that's not quite true. There are different attribution models in play within GA4, and we're going to look at those different attribution models. So very quickly, the attribution models we'll see being used in GA4 are last click. Here it's called last non-direct click. So in this attribution model, all direct traffic is ignored and the last channel is given credit for revenue and conversions. So if direct is the only known channel, it can be given credit for revenue, but it will look for any previous channel other than direct and award the credit to that channel. First interaction or first touch point means that credit is given to the first touch point that brought the user to the site, or the first marketing channel that brought the user to the site gets credit. So we'll see these two, and we'll see data-driven attribution models within GA4. So if we come here and look at the standard reports, so I've just clicked on the reports menu, and if we go into acquisition and click on this top one here, acquisition overview, so which of these reports uses the new default data-driven attribution model? Well, the answer is none of them. And if we click on this report here, which of these reports use data-driven attribution? The answer is none of them. And if we click on this last one here, traffic acquisition, do these reports use data-driven attribution? And the answer is no. So we need to know which attribution model is being used for these different reports, because there are different ones being used at different times. So one of the key giveaways is the dimension name. So here we can see that the dimension is prefixed with session. So because the dimension is prefixed with session, and actually the report is called session default channel group, that tells us that the attribution model being used is last click. So the last channel driving the user to the site gets credit for conversions and revenue, and if it's direct, it's ignored and it will look for the previous channel other than direct. Here in this set of reports, the giveaway is the prefix first user, which is also visible here in the report name, first user. So where we see dimensions that are prefixed with first user, The attribution model that is being used for conversions and revenue is first interaction. So the first touch point, marketing channel, marketing source medium, is given credit for revenue, for example. So you may be wondering, well, where are the data-driven attribution reports? And there is only one place in this menu where you can see data-driven attribution reports. And we have to click into engagement, and it's this conversions report here. So here we have events that have been marked as conversions, and they appear in the conversions report because they're flagged as conversions. And we might think that we're looking at conversions based on data-driven attribution at this point, but we're not. What you have to do is click through to one of these events. So if you look here, you can see there is a decimal, but it's always rounded to 0. And if we click purchase here, for example, and we're now just looking at the purchase event, now we'll see that our conversions actually have a decimal value, and that is an indication that this number is based on data-driven attribution. So you can find data-driven attribution in conversions, and you can choose any of these dimensions, and take note that there is no prefix in these dimensions. There is no session or first user prefix in these dimensions. This is the other giveaway that we are looking at data-driven attribution along with the decimal that is not rounded. The other place where you can see data-driven attribution reports in GA4 is under advertising. So if we click here, and if we click on all channels, we can see, if we look at the dimension here, that they are not prefixed with session or first user. First giveaway that we are looking at data-driven attribution, and we have a decimal that is not rounded to 0. So here we're looking at data-driven attribution. And of course, we have the model comparison, where we can compare, for the dimension selected here, different attribution models side by side, and can compare how conversions and revenue look side by side. So those are the two places you can see data-driven attribution in the reports. So in reports and conversions and advertising. And of course, the other place where you will see potentially data-driven attribution is within custom reports known as explorations. So if we head over there to this exploration report that I've created, when you add the dimensions here and search for them, for example, if we search for source medium, you will notice that there are 3. So there is a session source medium here, there is a first user source medium here, and there is simply source medium here. So this source medium with no prefix is underneath the attribution menu, and the other 2 are under traffic source. So in here I've created 3 different reports so we can look at them side by side. So the first one here is session source medium. Second one here is first user source medium. And the third one here is simply source medium with no prefix. So if we look at row 2, Google Organic, and look at the revenue, we have $67,000 here. Here we have a different number, $46,000 for Google Organic. And here for Google Organic, we have a different number again, $61,000. So any of these reports can be used. They're all valid, but the key thing is to understand that they use different attribution models. So session source medium is using last click. First user source medium is using first interaction or first touch. And Source medium with no prefix is using data-driven attribution. So whichever one you use is up to you. You can choose whichever one you want, but the main thing is to understand that there are different attribution models being applied to these dimensions, and the key is to be consistent and understand how they're different and what they do. Okay, hopefully that was useful and that you now understand a little bit more about how different attribution models apply to GA4 standard reports and exploration reports. Thank you very much.